Well, hello, you all. Once again, I welcome you all to my channel, my YouTube channel, Straight from the Dome. Today is session number 16, coming to you from Elizabethtown Municipal Building. It's lovely out here. I find unique places all the time. So today it's coming from this area. Today's session is entitled Holding Grudges. We don't like to speak on this because it's conflicting. We know how we are. We set in our ways. We get mad. We want an apology. We don't like to say we apologize for anything. We stay mad and we hold grudges. We never see the wrong in what we say and do, but we see the fault in everything somebody else says and does. This is conflicting. We cannot continue to be this way, because we only hurting ourselves physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually. And let me break that down. Okay, physically, because when we hold things, this causes stress. And sometimes we don't even realize that we stressing, because stress kills. Anybody can tell you that. Any doctor can tell you that. We only hurting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Anything we constantly think about, we continuously be hurt over it. Every time we're reminded of it, we hurt all over again. This causes stress. Okay? It causes stress. And different people, stress does different things to them. If it don't kill you, it's taking your hair out. You breaking out in hives. All kinds of things. So we want to limit the amount of stress we have. Holding grudges, that's not limiting. We putting that stress level up high. Okay? The next one. We hurting ourselves emotionally. Emotionally can set in stress because our heart has feelings. Our brain sends emotions between our heart and our soul because we're human. Many philosophers argue about what emotions really are. The study of emotions had been divided into two traditions: organic and mental. Organic school of emotions, scientists and philosophers argue that emotions are matters of biology, that they are not voluntarily controlled, such as a thumping heart or blushing when somebody makes you feel a certain kind of way. But the mental school of emotion argues that emotions are a matter of cognition and perceptions, such as belief, judgments, and interpretations of events. Modern researchers are trying to build the bridge between the two: the mind, the body, the thinking, and the feeling. But they still differ between which one comes first. Do we think it first or do we feel it first? This channel is based upon what I think straight from the dome, with most things being supported by Bible facts or lessons that I've learned. And I believe that the brain is the power source, that we think it first, and then the heart kicks in and the soul, which causes involuntary responses. Once again, organic, meaning that the feelings come first and then the thought follow. Mental, meaning that the thoughts come first and then the feelings follow. I am no scientist nor a philosopher, but I am more with the mental study of emotions. You are your own person. You can decide for yourself. But regardless of which comes first, they all work together that can cause serious stress if we don't learn how to handle these things better in life, decreasing the amount of stress. Lastly, we get hurt spiritually. We holding on to stuff and holding grudges hurts us spiritually. We are now entering the space of unforgiveness. And we We cannot enter heavenly kingdom with unforgiveness in our heart. That's not what God's word says. If we don't learn to forgive people, let that stuff go, we will not get into the heavenly gates. And that ain't something I'm saying. That's God's words. That's straight up facts. A particular passage in the Bible supports what I'm talking about in this session, holding grudges and pulling out blowing up, other people's stuff and sitting on our own. That ain't right. Nobody should open their mouth about other people's sin because they sinning their own self. We are sinning our own self. So we don't have no right. We don't have no right. Who are we not to forgive somebody for something that has been done to us, as much stuff as we done to God? As much as he grant us and we allow us to live another day, to take another breath, because he's forgiven us. Even if we haven't repented all the time, he still has forgiven us, because yet we live. But if you want to get into the heavenly gates, forgiveness you gotta have. You can't hold grudges on people. You can't. This session is 2 lessons in 1. Don't hold grudges and don't blow up other people's stuff because you sinning yourself. The passage I'm speaking of that I want to speak on right quick is coming from John chapter 8. This was the story about an adulterous woman that was caught in the act doing what she do. And the Pharisees and the scribes brought this woman to Jesus, testing him, seeing what he'll do. And they told him, now by the law of Moses, this woman's supposed to be stoned to death. What you gonna do? And they were asking Jesus. Jesus knelt right down and started writing on the ground, just like he ain't even heard nothing they saying. And they kept right on asking him, what you gonna do? What you gonna do with this woman that been out here doing her? You think this is all right? What are you gonna do? So after a while, Jesus stood up and he said, and this is what Jesus said finally: he who is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone at her. And then Jesus knelt right on back down and continued writing on the ground. And then the ones talking was feeling conviction in their heart, So they started leaving the scene one by one, guilty, because they know they done been sinning their own self. And finally, it was just the woman left, standing there, while Jesus was knelt down, writing on the ground. And Jesus said to her, where are your accusers? Jesus said, there's no one left to condemn you? And the woman said, no. And Jesus said, well, I don't condemn you either. Go from here and sin no more. So, and Jesus spoke this to the people later, telling them, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. A wise person stated that peace is the consequence of forgiveness. God's removal of that which obscures his face and so breaks the union with him. So in other words, please, don't try to blow other people's stuff up and you sinning too. Okay? Just because what you doing don't seem half as bad or what the next person does, in God's eyes all the same. So don't hold what other people have done to you. Yes, we hurt because we're human. Yes, but we got to get past that. We can't keep, holding stuff, on people, because God will hold it on us. Matthew chapter 6 states, forgive when people sin against you, for the Father will also forgive you. But if you don't forgive the people that sin against you, the Father won't forgive you either. Which means you will not get through them heavenly gates without forgiveness. So it's hard. God knows it's hard. But if you got any God in you, you will not hold stuff on people. You will learn to forgive them. And how you know if you've forgiven someone is when you have the opportunity to get back at that person and you don't do it, you know you have truly forgiven that person. It's not saying you won't remember what they done, because we human, we're going to remember it. But we got to forgive. We got to not try to do that get back. We got to stop trying to stay mad. Because without that forgiveness, as I stated before, and not just what I'm thinking, this is what is in the Word. You got to forgive if you want the Lord to forgive you. So you can ask forgiveness all day long, all night long. But if you still holding something inside of you on somebody else and you have not forgiven them, that right there is going in one ear and out the other. So don't go to sleep at night without forgiving the people that has trespassed against you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to ask God to forgive you for something. So who you think you are that God can forgive you, but you can't forgive other people? Because you ain't no better than the next person. The only thing makes you different if you are a child of God and you are repenting for what you've done your own self. Will God hear your prayer? So, without being said, this speaks for itself. Stop holding these grudges. Oh, trust me, I'm speaking to myself as well. Because there's some people that have, pardon my French, have pissed me off in life. But I had to get past that. And some things I'm still working on to this day. God, don't let Jesus come through them clouds today and knowing that I still feel some kind of way about 2 or 3 people. I have to pray to God every day for forgiveness. And so do you. Remember that. Straight from the dome. Work on you. Work on you before you can even help somebody else. Forgive people because you want to be forgiven. Straight from the dome. I love you. See you the next session, which will be session number 17.